I hope you're all well. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is what a week of training looks like as somebody who's training for their very first triathlon with no coach, by the way. This is completely self-coached. Whether that's a good idea or a bad idea, I don't know. I have been a swimming teacher and coach for almost 10 years, like maybe even over 10 years now. The triathlon that I'm doing is an Olympic standard triathlon. So that is 1.5k swim, sea swim, not swum in the sea before. It's then 40 kilometers on a bike, not ridden a road bike or not done a race before, and then a 10k run. I've done 2 10k races. Not sure that makes me qualified, but there we go. Sessions that I wanted to include in last week's plan was swim distance, swim speed focus, bike distance, bike speed, injury prevention and rehabilitation stretching focus session, glute focus session, upper body, which was back focus. Then we had a run, interval run, a 7k run, and then an 8k easy run. This was actually a running deload week. To start off with, on Monday we had the glute focus workout and 7km easy run. So how I structure my day of training is I normally wake up, make sure I have breakfast and eat before I train. I'm not somebody who can train fasted. Like, it doesn't work for me. I know some people can. Like, I need some energy, if not genuinely, like I'm not even joking, I do feel like I'm gonna pass out in the gym. And the mentality, I just pulled my squishmallow out from behind me. I always start my workouts with like 10 minutes of cardio. So if I'm doing like a leg day, it's normally on the bike or treadmill. Then I do some dynamic stretches. Now guys, I have not filmed any of the dynamic stretches or post stretches that I've done during my week of workouts. I just filmed the week of workouts and what those training sessions include. I am more than happy to do another video on the warm-ups, cool downs, and everything I do, because they are very important, should not be overlooked. But for me, that's what I've just done for this video. First of all, every single piece of clothing that I wear to the gym is Gymshark, and I have a code HannahM10 to save money on any of the outfits you guys see in the video, or just in general. If you want to treat yourself to a little summon on Gymshark, then make sure you use my code because you save 10%. So starting off with a leg day, off with 4 sets of 12 on deadlifts. Now I just do normal deadlifts. I don't go and do like sumo deadlifts or anything like that. And I always warm up with a light set. So for me, I warm up with 40 kilograms, which is the bar, and 2 10s either side. Then my working set, well, it was 60 because I'm doing 4 sets of 12. So with my running, swimming and cycling, I'm wanting to build up endurance. Whereas when I've trained previously, I would train and do like 3 sets of 6 to 8 where the weight would be a lot heavier, but then I'm training for muscular strength rather than muscular endurance. So this is where my training style is changing a little bit, and I'm having to kind of just be okay with that, which is a process. Guys, oh my god, I would not recommend wearing running shoes in the gym. I went to the Formula 1 on Sunday in Melbourne and it was chucking it down the whole day, and my shoes got absolutely ruined. So the only other pair of shoes that I could wear was my running shoes, and the gym that I go to literally has signs plastered around the whole gym. Do not take your shoes off, do not take your shoes off. Like, PTs are walking around me all the time. So I'm like, oh, I'm just not going to do it. But please don't work out in your running shoes. Work out in flat shoes. It's better for stability. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. With deadlifts, it's super important to make sure that your form is good. So feet shoulder width apart, pointing forwards. I always use double hand over grip. I've always done that. Some people go like over under or double under. I just go over. In your deadlift, you want to think about keeping a neutral spine, and this is a word that gets thrown around a lot in the fitness industry, is this neutral spine. But what it means is basically keeping your back in line the whole time. So what you don't want to be doing is rounding your back, because that's when you can cause injury. So you want to be keeping your back in line. So that's what people mean when they say neutral position. Another good thing for that is keeping your core nice and tight and engaged. People mean when they say keep your core engaged, and honestly, as soon as I really thought about this one thing changed lifting for me genuinely forever. And that was, imagine somebody's going to come up and punch you in the stomach. So someone's a bit dramatic, but yeah. And you tense for impact, that is you bracing your core. Another thing that seems really simple but really helps me with my deadlift cues, and this is really beneficial as somebody who is a taller girl and I have long legs, guys, so my deadlift might not look the same as your deadlift, and please bear that in mind. There are basic cues when it comes to lifting, but like, you are not going to look the same as the person next to you. My legs were killing me after this. Like, the 4 sets of 12 is just something I'm not used to yet. So yeah, but obviously it was moving really well, so I upped the weight and did another 2 sets of 12 with 70, which is, I'm happy with. I moved on to my least favorite exercise of my whole entire life, guys. I promise you, there is not an exercise that I hate more than this. I would rather do bench press for the rest of my life than do this, and that is hip thrusts. So to make it slightly more manageable, I go on the Smith machine, because the thought of setting up a hip thrust is genuinely enough for me not to do hip thrust at all. So again, I'm working in like the 10 to 12 rep range here, aiming to hit 12s every single time. Now runners, you will know that your glutes are super important to you when you run. I actually have really weak glutes. I don't train them because I just hate training glutes. So I actually find that a lot of like calf problems and hip problems are linked to them not having strong glutes, and lower back injuries as well come from a lot of core instability and weak glutes, guys. So don't be me and train your glutes. Making sure I keep my chin tucked in, and again, guys, keeping that neutral spine down altogether and up altogether. A really good cue for like where to position yourself on the bench is think of like the back bit of your sports bra. That's where you want to be on the bench. Tuck your chin in. I used to look at my form and look at what I was doing in the mirror so much, not realizing that it was then causing me to have incorrect form. With hip thrust, I always think about pushing off through my heels, and I don't know if it's just because of like my build and how long my legs are, but I actually turn my feet out, and it just really helps me target my glutes a little bit more. Make sure you hold and squeeze at the top. If you can't feel it, then play about with your foot position a little bit. You want your knee to be directly over your ankle. So if it's not, then too far out, you're gonna be targeting hamstrings. Good to be aware of that. Then I move on to step ups. Guys, this exercise humbles me. Now, I really like doing this on the Smith machine because I feel like it's a much more controlled movement. You want that foot that's coming down just to literally touch the floor. You don't want it to be pushing up, because that is not the leg that's going to be working. The leg that is on the bench or on the platform, box, whatever you're using, that is your working leg. 3 sets of, again, 10 to 12. I'm trying to think, I think I did the first 2 sets, 12 reps, and then the last, oh yeah, and then the last 2 I did as 10 reps, but then I did a superset, so I took the weight off and then just did the body weight. I could just, my glutes, the bottom of my glutes, the tops of my hamstrings, like everything, this exercise is just, I love it. Generally, I think this is one of my only leg day exercises that I really like, but yeah, I just prefer the Smith machine setup so much, but I also know a lot of people that don't. But again, I don't know if it's because I have longer legs that I just feel like I can get more stability and control that movement a lot better with the Smith machine. And also you can load it up and go heavier. That is not the aim of what I'm doing. I'm obviously going for muscular endurance, but yeah, I've hit some good weight on that, guys. I think I used to do 60 kilograms on those Smith machine setups, like back in the bodybuilding weight training days. And then to finish off, I did lying hamstring curls. Now, this is a little bit of a rogue one for me, really, because again, like I said, I want to be targeting my glutes here because they are my weakest point in my legs, but also hamstrings, glutes, we come as one. 3 sets of 20, and I just really like this as like a burner. Good idea to add something like this as a burner at the end of the workout. When I'm already quite fatigued, I've done like some big compound movements in my leg session, so energy wise, I can't give much to it. But yeah, so having something where you do 3 sets of 20 at the end is perfect. Then came back, refueled and got ready for my 7K easy run. This was so nice. We went out just before sunset. It's an easy zone 2 the whole time, which this was actually quite difficult to keep at zone 2, which is annoying because the week prior I did 14K and literally was in zone 2 the whole time and felt like easy breezy, lemon squeezy, not a problem in the world then. But this run, like I was fighting to keep it under zone 2, like I was really having to go slow. But yeah, there's lots of different things that can factor that. Heat, it was very hot. I trained that day, I hadn't had great sleep. There's a lot of factors that can cause your heart rate to go a little bit crazy in the training. Tuesday was upper body focused and swim speed focused. Now let me pull my videos up from Tuesday because I don't really remember what I did. Hey guys, one thing about me is that I absolutely love a back day. Like back day was my all-time favorite day. I loved it so much. And it took me genuinely like a year and a half to get my first pull-up. And before I went traveling, I could do like 10 pull-ups. And if I would do like 3 sets of 8 pull-ups, no problems, weighted pull-ups. Now I'm kind of like not back at the start, but I'm like 5 maximum pull-ups, so that's something I really want to work on. I started off with 3 sets of AMRAP, which is as many rounds as possible for a pull-ups, just forgot the word, for pull-ups. Then after I'd done as many rounds as possible, so I supersetted this with assisted pull-up machine. So again, like I said, I'm trying to get to that 10 pull-ups nice and easy again. So if I did 5 pull-ups unassisted, I'd then go and do 5 pull-ups assisted on the machine, just to kind of like get back into the routine, build that muscle up a little bit more to help progress with the pull-ups. But yeah, really enjoyed this. Then I went on to some narrow grip overhand lat pull down, so just targeting other parts of my back here. So obviously I went really wide grip for the pull-ups, and now I want to focus on like the narrower part of my back, making sure I target different parts of my back here. So I did 4 sets of 12 on the lat pull down. Guys, my hands were killing me after this. They don't normally hurt that much, but even now, like the calluses really hurt. But yeah, I found this really difficult. One thing with lat pull down is I find it really hard not to roll my shoulders. Like I think naturally, just from being a swimmer, my shoulders, my posture is just not that good, because swimming does bring your shoulders forward. So it's just having to constantly remind myself, roll your shoulders back, you know, keep looking up, not look down. If you look down, your shoulders are just going to roll in a lot more. So just keep reminding myself of these pointers. Also, do not rush the actual upwards part of the movement. I see a lot of people rushing that part of the movement, but you want to keep it slow and controlled as best as you can. That, and also guys, this Gymshark halter neck top, isn't that just the perfect top to train back in? This is what I'm wearing now, but just obviously in the brown. And I moved on to single arm rows. I love single arm rows, like just back day in general, I really like it. But the mind to muscle connection that I get from single arm rows is so good. Again, we're doing 4 times 12 reps on this. I do think I could have upped the weight, but this was actually the first time adding this exercise in this week, so I didn't want to go too crazy and put a crazy weight on and be like, oh actually I can only do 8 reps. Like I wanted to make sure I could hit those 12. Like I said, the mind muscle connection I get with this is so good. Like I feel like it really stretches my lats out when I like release the movement. So then when I pull back, as I pull back, I really focus on squeezing the single arm rows. You have a special place in my heart. And I finished off with a superset. Guys, I have a love-hate relationship with rear delt flies. I don't know what it is. I think it's just that I really struggle to like feel this movement in where you're supposed to feel it for such a long period of time that I kind of just gave up on it. But I've reintroduced it back into my workout, and I did this as a superset. So I go super light on rear delt. Like you don't need, for me, I do not need to go heavy. For me, it's all about that mind to muscle connection, making sure I pause and hold like at the end of the movement, and then control going back in. And then I supersetted with some lateral raises, and this combination is brutal. Like I was in so much pain, like good pain, don't worry. But yeah, really good superset to do at the end. But that is Tuesday's upper body session done. And then after that, I'm refueled and then went for a swim. Oh, this was hard, this session. This was in total, I think, how far did I go in this session? The session was just under 2K. It might have been like 1.5 to 2 kilometers. And this was like a speed focus session. So I was doing a lot of like 10 times 50, front crawl at like 80% speed. So for me, that's like keeping 35 second a 50 meter pace. I was going off 45 seconds. So then I had 10 seconds. So it's just about building that endurance and obviously being able to keep that speed. So when it does come to triathlon day, then I am able to, like I do have that kind of like fitness already built in there. And like I said, I've always been into swimming. However, front crawl was not my stroke. As I've got older, I've been swimming more and more front crawl. So the club that I used to swim at was very heavily like front crawl distance orientated, and I feel like I kind of just fallen into that like crowd. But yeah, I'm a breaststroker. I am at heart. And then move on to Wednesday's training. So this was injury prevention and intervals. And actually this session did not go to plan, because on Wednesday I was just minding my little business, scrolling through TikTok, and I saw that there was a country concert like literally 10 minutes away from me that evening. So unfortunately the intervals had to go because I had a country concert to go to. So went to that and I had such a good time. But yeah, the injury prevention sessions are so important, and I actually posted about this on my Instagram the other day. The day you start taking your injury prevention as seriously as your training, then that is the day that everything changes for you. And I'm aware, like I'm training like 13 hours or more a week. I'm doing high intensity running, swimming, cycling, weight training. Like my body's under constant stress. If I am not relaxing, stretching, and kind of giving my body what it needs, I am not going to be able to perform. So yeah, injury prevention, super important. Exercises that I'm going to show you guys are something that I just put into a circuit. And again, I will do the stretches for 30 seconds times 3, and then the actual exercises I do, it varies, but normally like 3 times 12. Just want to feel good. I've had a few problems with my hip, my left hip recently. Weird, because it actually wasn't my left hip, it was always my right hip. And then I went to train and like was limping off the treadmill, limped all the way home because my hip was so tight. It was like pulling back, it was awful. So that is definitely something for me to be aware of, that my left hip is just absolutely crackered at the moment. So yeah, then we move on to Thursday. We had swim and bike distance in one day. This was my first brick session. So excited to do this because this felt like the triathlon training was getting finally put together, because it was like obviously the swimming and then the cycling. So swimming, I did 2.2k. I did a load of 100s off 145. There was nothing really special about that. The session didn't feel great, to be honest. The pool that I swam in was like a saltwater pool. I've never swam like actual proper serious swimming in a saltwater pool. So that was a new experience. Like I felt very overwhelmed and almost panicked. I've never felt like that during swimming, but there was so much going on. Like the water was going up my nose, not up my nose, but it was irritating my nose. And I felt really uncomfortable, and yeah, there was a lot of, I don't know, my head was not in the right place for this session. But I was like, if I get into the triathlon day and I have these same feelings, like I need to know that I can push through that and be okay. So I did, and I was absolutely fine. Then the bike distance session was another 40k ride. And guys, I don't have bib shorts, and if you're new to cycling, so am I have no idea really what I'm talking about. But these bib shorts, they basically give your bum like cushioning. You need it for cycling, you absolutely do, and I don't have any yet. I still don't have any, and it is making the bike sessions unbearable. Like it's so painful. So like the actual cycling part of it isn't that bad, but the pain, like I'm gonna be so glad when these bib shorts arrive and I can wear them and my training is relatively pain-free. Guys, the bike doesn't feel bad, but it really does make a difference training on tired and dead legs. Like this session was not it for me. It was a zone, it was a zone 2 session, so I wasn't focusing on like sending it, but it was also 4 minutes slower than the week before. So yeah, I don't know, I just felt a bit unmotivated with it, to be honest. I did want to push it and I wanted to send it, but because I just wanted it to be over. But then I was like, no, Hannah, stick to the plan. Like it's zone 2, it's really gonna help. Oh guys, the thought of doing it again this week, like when I don't have any bib shorts, is just absolutely soul destroying. Right, oh, Friday I did 8k easy recovery, sticking at zone 2. Chef's kiss, nice and easy, don't have to worry about that. Then Saturday, this is where it went downhill for me. So I missed out on the interval session from Wednesday because of the country festival. And yeah, so I needed to do that. It was rolling 400s. Guys, I'm doing my running plan with Runner, and I will do a whole nother video on my experience with Runner. It's not an ad. I feel like I'm one of the only fitness influencers who's not working with a fitness app. I'm going to give you my 100% honest opinion. It was 6k session, 400 meters, rolling intervals. I decided to do it on a treadmill, which is an awful idea. Running on a treadmill feel like 4,000 million times harder than running outside. Before I got on to do the run, my hip felt really weird and I couldn't work out. I don't know if this is like really specific, but I couldn't work out if I was like trying to make excuses because I didn't want to do the session, or like my hip actually hurt. So I did the session and my hip was hurting during the session, but physically, like mentally, I was finding the session really challenging because I was running on a treadmill. Like, guys, honestly, it makes it so much harder. I couldn't work out if I was trying to give up or if I actually needed to stop. So I carried on going. And then as soon as the treadmill stopped, guys, I genuinely was concerned. I was like, this is bad. Like, I've not actually felt this pain. I could not put any weight on my leg. I was like hobbling off the treadmill to like go and stretch. It was a big L to take. But yeah, my hip was so tight and basically it was like clicking. So it was just something pulling on my hip every time I moved. So it was just so painful. But yeah, I've had like 3-4 intense days of like stretching, rehabilitation, no running, swimming and stuff like that. So that has really, really helped. And I'm actually going to go for a run in a little bit. Nice and easy, genuinely nice and easy, because like I actually can't afford to get injured. Like I have goals to hit and injury has no place in my program. On Sunday, I did my first ever bike interval session, which was hell. By far the hardest session that I've done that week. It was so difficult. Again, I struggled with the structure of this one, but I did 1 minute like maximum effort, 2 minute easy, and I did that times 6. That was enough for me on that day. Like I need to build that up. That was so incredibly difficult. But yeah, so in total, that was 20 kilometers running, almost 4 hours in total, 3.7k swim, which was 2 hours, 50 minutes, 54 kilometers on the bike, which was 2 hours, 6 minutes. Gym, I did 3 sessions, which was 4 hours, 30 minutes, a grand total of 13 hours, 22 minutes of training. It sounds quite intense, but honestly, I had such a good week of training. I felt really good. Obviously apart from a little annoyance there in the hip at the end of the week. But yeah, so it's now Monday and I'm now in another full week of training. Let me know if you want to see another week of training, or what would be super fun, and also I'm really getting into this, is like making new creative meals. I mean, they're not that creative, but they're just new to me. So let me know if you'd like to see a week of food. I don't know, what is the correct terminology for that? A week of what's on my plate or something? I don't know. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, all my clothes worn are Gymshark, which I do have a discount code for. It's Hannah M10. The watch that I use for my training is Whoop, not an ad. The shoes that I run with are the On Cloud Eclipse, I want to say. I think that's it. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon in another video.